Hello, this is my 8th house synastry series. This is Saturn in the 8th house synastry. I find myself, when I was writing this, finding it very deep, and that's because we are now at the half of the birth chart. We're hitting the low vibration or the more generational curses type of themes here. I decided that I'm going to do this in themes rather than what Saturn does to you, what 8th house does. Even though there be moments that I will say that, it's more to do with the theme here and the conditioning, especially conditioning when it comes to Saturn. So Saturn here takes responsibility of governing over the 8th houser. 8th houser trusts the Saturn to be of such great example. So no matter what happens, Saturn person will always be seen highly of the 8th houser, right? 8th houser will always see Saturn as a good person. No matter what happens here, the respect is always there from both camps. There could be a Stockholm syndrome, okay, which is created from the discipline and loyalty that Saturn creates, right? Saturn person will create certain scenarios where 8th house will have this thing like this discipline and loyalty, even if it might be wrong. Saturn always wants the 8th houser to know the importance of why they're doing such a thing and how to get respect from others, but not to the 8th houser themselves. Doesn't want to lose control over the 8th houser. So it would treat 8th houser to have respect over themselves and seek it, but not let 8th houser know that they should be respected as well, so that 8th houser can always depend on Saturn. Saturn has this motto here that is, do as I say, not as I do. Saturn wants to pass down tradition, and in that way it's good because it teaches 8th house how to keep that structure, right? And make sure that things are done, right? That things get passed down. But the same way, when we talk about traditions, is the same way that Saturn person teaches 8th house about trauma cycles. So when you hear stories about people saying, oh, my mom or my father did this to me, and then you're questioning them, so why you keep doing it? More likely it's because that person has Saturn in their 8th. So they're just keeping that trauma and cycles continuing, even though they know it's wrong. But it's because they don't know anything outside of it anymore. Saturn doesn't care if 8th houser is happy, as long as the outlook, right, the image looks morally correct. Saturn's love here for the 8th house comes from the hard work. And I know you might say, no, Saturn truly loves me. I'm in there, my 8th house, trust and believe there's another planets and aspects that's making that Saturn love you deeper than just for what you bring to them or how hard you look like you will serve them for. When it's just this synastry here, Saturn the 8th, I'm telling you, Saturn only loves you because of the hard work that you show or you bring. When we talk about, because Saturn rules career as well in the image, Saturn will see the 8th houser potential, even if 8th houser doesn't see it for themselves. 8th houser feels seen and appreciated of Saturn, while Saturn wants the image of, while Saturn wants the image, like the focus is on image, 8th houser wants the love. Saturn person here only believes in sacrifices. Saturn secretly loves 8th houser deeper than it shows, but it's scared of showing the vulnerability to the 8th houser. Saturn can take 8th houser from a bad situation and make them a household name. So, Saturn can, like I've noticed here, and I've seen this in real life, it's just Saturn can use 8th houser as an example of their own image. So to our outside people, they're like, oh, Saturn is so cute. Whole time, Saturn is over here controlling the 8th house to be themselves. And, when we see, oh, that mom lives through her daughter, well, that's Saturn in the 8th, right there. It's Saturn in the 8th house synastry. 8th houser helps to keep Saturn's image alive by hiding the secrets, like things that are, if it goes out, everything breaks loose. Or by being the actual legacy of Saturn. Saturn will invest a lot of money in the 8th houser. A lot of times this manifests as a loan. Third theme is about values. 8th houser loves Saturn's protection. And Saturn is not like the other planets, like the Jupiter and the sun and the moon. It's just what it is. So in this synastry, it's not like, I know because we're dealing with 8th house synastry, you can be like, well, what does Saturn mean? What does eighth house person is meaning? I feel like they're playing games. No, they're not. The problem here is that no one wants to believe here that they're losing control. So they make excuses of what's going on when the whole time is just restrictive or abusive. You know, there is eighth house feels bounded about their self-worth. You know, it feels attached to Saturn because Saturn teaches eighth house about self-worth. Eighth house will always use Saturn's base for foundation. You know, you will ask the eighth houser, how did you get this information? Or why do you think this way about life and love and all this stuff? And they will say things like, oh, it's because of this and that. Okay, who taught you that? Saturn. They will always point to Saturn, even if it's wrong. The things that eighth houser owns can have worth due to Saturn's or Saturn's will to use it for themselves. So maybe whatever eighth houser has to offer, maybe it doesn't have any value until Saturn comes in and uses it. The balance here comes from the cutoff. This is no, oh, we can, maybe we need to stay together and we're going to be cool and we're going to really like each other. No, this is them ones that you only value each other when you cut off. You know, that toxic parent, you only come out of their, once you come out of their house, that's when they acknowledge that they love you and miss you and value you. This is the type of synastry. The values get tested in public a lot, but both will be blamed. Even if one is a victim, both will be blamed. And sometimes it's so weird how this plays out, but majority of the times, this public image being destroyed will give them more power to both of them. They get fame from that. The fourth theme here, which we talk about, is virtue. There's a polished image from both sides. You know, I noticed that eighth houser in a way can polish the Saturn's image, or vice versa too. Eighth houser can take care of Saturn, maybe because it's due to old age. Eighth houser could go, if you get what I mean, if something happens to Saturn, right? They might be those ones that they don't want Saturn to take the bullet, so they will take the bullet. Or they might actually go as soon as Saturn goes because of heartbreak. Eighth houser, through social environments, can understand that Saturn is actually the one that needs them. So Saturn can sometimes put eighth houser in situations where they can't really speak to their family or friends and stuff like that because they know that eighth houser will understand actually that they're being a victim. Saturn gives eighth houser tough love. Eighth houser can also awaken Saturn's weaknesses because it will realize that Saturn's doing tough love because they never had it in the first place. So then they will start to show that to the Saturn person, and that can make Saturn feel weak when this happens. Now for the side thoughts or side comments I noticed about this synastry is the age difference. So Saturn can be older or more mature. They could meet in a restrictive scenario or like arranged marriage. This could be also intimacy work. You know, they get paid to do intimate job. Saturn can be the boss of said company that eighth houser is working on. Saturn can make eighth houser who they are, but will overstep the boundaries. Eighth houser could wait for Saturn to, for the money. Before Saturn's transformation of whatever's happening in their life, eighth houser will be the one that sparks the transformation. Saturn can adopt the eighth houser. And when I say adopt, I'm talking about literally, probably eighth houser was in a vulnerable position where Saturn came in and became that father figure. Saturn Phoenix story or rich, like could be from, someone that maybe struggled when it was younger and then when it got older got rich, or actually Saturn could be someone that came from a rich family background. Here also has a groomer aspect. Saturn can teach eighth houser from a lot of things in life. Saturn can feel rejuvenated by the intimacy, okay, with the eighth houser. There could be struggles in the intimacy department or secrets of this happening because it's probably not, society wouldn't accept these two being together. They tend to stay together and work out. It usually happens after years and years of being together or when they're older age or old in maturity. Saturn also could get into negotiations that could be really harmful to eighth houser. Saturn also in a way can teach eighth houser about who to watch for in that business department.